What is going on, everybody? This is Sanochi and welcome back to another tutorial of Savior videos. And today I'm going to cover the new KTEST patch notes for May 11, 2020. But first thing first, I want to shout out to Mikumo for posting the new KTEST patch notes, as well as Kerba for translating the patch notes for the community. Really appreciate it and thank you for your hard work. Alright, we're going to cover the new ununique ray weapons, which is for level 430s. The first weapon is P Beta Bolts, which has 140 strength, 160 dex, as well as 1330 critical attack, which is really nice, by the way, for the bolts. This bolt also has a passive effect which gains 5 stacks of buff when using a leap abilities, which lasts for 10 seconds. When you use it at attack skill, it consumes 1 stack of debuff and gains 60% damage for 1 second. This is really nice in my opinion compared to a Vivorable. However, Vivorable is still better than this bolt. I would suggest using this bolt as a replacement, maybe an on-switch weapon to gain the damage buff for 1 second. Next is we have P Badass Musket. This is a really nice musket. The artwork is purely amazing. This musket had 145 strength, 480 critical rate, as well as 1180 critical attack. It gained 1 stack of buff every time you use a musketeer or tiger hunter skills, which lasts for 5 seconds. When the buff reach 3 stacks, your damage is decreased by 50%. Again, this is like the P Beta Bolt, which also has a damage boost as well, and I believe some of this weapon will have some damage boost gimmick effects as well. And this one is pretty nice in my opinion in terms of damage output, because compared to a repeater bolt or the musket will definitely be better because it lasts 5 seconds compared to the bolt. Well, the next one is Beta Pistol. Beta Pistol has 92 dex, 313 critical range, as well as 995 critical attack. It inflicts a debuff on a random enemy within 200 range every 20 seconds, and it will not activate while under closed or invisibility. Debuff lasts for 10 seconds and damage deal to the debuff target will increase by 60%. This is probably one of the most gimmick weapons in my opinion because it only triggers every 20 seconds. If it pulls PvEs, like maybe a Griddle boss, it might be difficult, but a single target, this weapon is really good. However, keep this in mind though, there is Vivora pistols in the KTEST right now which increase the SR damage really high. And keep in mind that Vivora pistol for bullet market, is much better in terms of damage as well as cooldown reduction. So if you consider using this pistol, I would use it as a on-switch weapon. But yeah, next one is P Beta Stabs, which has 145 intelligence, 145 SBR, as well as 478 critical rate. It inflicts a debuff on enemies, 20 enemies basically, when using a magic circle skills, has 20-second cooldowns, and the debuff lasts for 10 seconds. The damage dealt to the video target increased by 70%. So if you're a pyromancer, maybe a cryomancer, or maybe even any wizard class that has a magic circle skill, which is like a flame ground from pyromancer, you definitely want to get this stab because this is the best DPS stab right now, in my opinions. Maybe there's Vivora as well, but if you use this stab and also switch with Vivora, you can still gain an insane amount of damage. And that is so good in my opinion. Next is the P Beta, two-hand sword. It has 157 strength, 511 critical rate, as well as 3 AoE attack ratios. The damage of any skill that has 20 seconds or higher base cooldown is increased by 40%. Now, if I were to compare this sword with the Vivora two-hand sword, this sword might be able to compete in terms of damage, but in terms of long-term bossing, Vivora is definitely better. However, there are also other classes that also use two-hand sword, so you don't definitely have to worry about getting a Blossom Blader. But if you're looking for endgame bossing or endgame PvE classes, Blossom Blader is the best way to go, as well as Vivora two-hand sword. This weapon still definitely better, but you know, Vivora hand is just generally better than it. Next is the P Beta Sword. P Beta Sword had 105 strength, 305 critical rate, as well as 2 attack ratios. Now the thing with this weapon, it also has critical damage increased by 20%. That is pretty good, but it's kind of hard to compare to a two-hand weapon because you're using a one-hand weapon. Now the thing is, if you're using this weapon, I would suggest also getting a P Beta Shields, which is the next items. Look freaking amazing, by the way. The artwork for almost all of these weapons. The P Beta Shields had 105 strengths, 85 cons, 2 attack ratio, as well as final blocks rate increased by 2%. When using a skill when the shield attack attributes, it casts a forcing beat. The forcing beat deal damage to nearby enemies up 3 times over 3 seconds, and the skill factor is around 1100%. It has straight property, but it also has a 20% chance to freeze enemy for 3 seconds. So the total target hit is based on your area ratio as well. So the more area ratio you have, the better it gets. So if you combo with the one-hand sword, maybe you're playing a one-hand swordsman, you definitely want to get this shield as well. So this is really optional as compared to hand options. The next one is the P beta cannons. 160 strength for this weapon, 490 critical rate, as well as 4 area ratio attacks. Now it gains 1 stack above every 0.5 seconds during combat, up to 10 stacks. Auto stacks remove if you move or end the combat. The cannon damage will increase by 5% per stack, so that means 50% in total damage if you get 10 stacks. It only takes 5 seconds to get the total of 10 stacks because you get stacked every 0.5 seconds. So if you're cannoner, this is really good by the way, but I think my only question is whether you can use on Switch, because you get a stacks every 0.5 seconds, and if you, this is just my assumption, maybe my theory, if you switch to another weapon, you might lose the damage stack. So really optional, you can use this weapon or you can use the Vivora Vivora cannon, so really optional. Next is the P beta daggers. This dagger has 90 strength, 112 dex, as well as 970 critical attack. The damage of any skill has a base cooldown of 15 seconds or lower, is increased by 30%. This would consider as Courtiers, Assassin, and maybe Ragnar. In my opinion, this is pretty tricky because you might want to consider the class like a Shinobi. Shinobi also has their own dagger, Vivora dagger from in KTEST right now. So either if you're going to use a Shinobi's or maybe consider using this dagger might be far the best because of damage outputs based on the cooldown reductions. But yeah, definitely want to consider this dagger or a Shinobi dagger in the future for Vivora. Next is the P beta two-hand mace. This mace has a 162 strength, 162 intelligence, as well as 466 critical rate with the 3 area ratio attacks. It gains a buff for 20 seconds after using heal, which increased damage deal by 35%. That is so good by the way, because if you use this mace as on Switch, maybe for exorcists, crusaders, or maybe even monks with increased combos, you gain 35% damage for 20 seconds by using heal. But my only question is whether this damage effect will increase for ally as well. Because if you consider this with the new Paladin rework, Paladin right now had a damage buffs under barrier, so consider that. Consider everything that gives damage, which is really good for support. But yeah, anyway, next is the P beta rod. 99 intelligence, 99 SBRs, 310 critical rate. Upon dealing magic damage with a skill, it fires a magic bullet. Magic bullet deals 2000 damage with 5-second cooldowns. Now there are 2 or 3 gimmicks in my opinion, but there are 2 gimmicks things that you might want to consider, which is the SP. Now if your mana is under 60%, it fires 2 magic bullets, so that's like 4000 skill factor. If your mana is under 30%, it fires 3 bullets, which is 6000 skill factor. So maybe if you're using a magic shield, maybe a build with a lot of mana regenerations, maybe just spamming mana regeneration pot. So really optional, but I personally find this weapons kinda on the weird side in my opinion, because not a lot of DPS using one-hand weapon compared to a two-hand weapon with a trinket. Next we have the P beta rapiers. 95 strength, 320 critical rate, as well as 965 critical attack. Upon using a fencer skill or meditator skill, it casts an icicle burst, dealing pure damage to 10 enemies around you. Now the skill factor is 1500% with the 3-second cooldown. It inflicts 1 stack of debuff on hit for 8 seconds with maximum 5 stacks. It could critical resistance by 5%. That is really good. However, Vivora weapons definitely will be better than this rapier, but this rapier in terms of supporting or maybe doing legend raids or killings Monoreponia or Skia in the few boss areas, this weapon will definitely have high chance to shine because of the new critical resistance for the field boss, which is around 3000 something. So you definitely want to use this rapier along with DP beta shields It also had the strength to proc as well, to dealing additional damage, which is really nice in my opinion. Next is P the Beta Mace. It has 120 SPR, 795 physical defense as well as magical defense. Using heal on ally give them a buff that reduces damage taken from boss monsters by 12%. When your heal overload stacks of 4 or higher, the damage reduction effect is doubles. Now, let's step back a little bit. 12% damage reduction against boss, that is huge. I'm talking about extremely huge. But if you have a 4 stack of overloads or higher, the damage reduction is doubles. So that would be like 24% per cast on a ally. But I don't know how long would that last though. So, and I don't know whether there will be a cap for damage reduction. If you get 100% damage reduction, that's just ridiculous. So there might be a potential cap right here. Next we have the P Beta Spears with one hand spear, by the way. It has 108 strength, 101 dex, as well as 290 critical rate. It increases pure skill damage by 60% for 1 second when you deal a critical hit, and it has 2-second cooldown. Now 1 second is very low in my opinions. Maybe they should consider 5 seconds at least for an increased damage. However, this is a one-hand weapon we're talking about compared to two-hand weapon. Speaking of two-hand spear weapon, P Beta's two-hand spear, it has 160 strength, 155 dex, as well as 1260 critical attack. That's really nice, but the passive is even better. Debuff all enemy within signature range around you every 5 seconds. The debuff lasts for 5 seconds, and the damage debuff target increased by 40%. This one can be triggered every 5 seconds against all enemy around you. So compared to a two-hand weapon with a one-hand weapons, this is really optional in terms of DPS. But if you're PvP, P Beta's one-hand spear is definitely way much better than the P Beta two-hand spears. But that's just up to you which one you want to use. Next we have the P Beta trinkets, which has 62 strength, 62 intelligence. Now this one applies 12% more critical rate when attacking, which is really nice by the way, and damage dealt inside the White Witch Force increased by 50%. That is a lot if you're considering that the White Witch Force also getting the Legends content. So this is definitely the best trinket if you're looking for the endgame DPS. Alright, onto the armor. We have cloth, leather, and plate armor, I believe. Yep. Now the cloth armor, 50 cons, 75 SPR, 520 SPs, and 78 SP recovery. When you equip all 4 pieces, a set bonus is activated, receive 10% less damage while inside the Witchfire Ward Force, which is really nice for a healer. Increase 20% healing while inside the White Witch Force. If the target you heal has a White Witch debuff at the 2 stack or higher, it remove 1 stack. And at this part right here, I believe this might be the one-hit KO moves. So this set might come in handy in terms of running a legend raid, because legend raid is much more difficult. When you enter a Witchfire Forest, you receive a heat debuff with reduced damage taken from the cold blast, which prevent the debuff once the heat is removed after that it's triggered. So this is really nice. I'm not entirely sure if you can use this as an inker or you have to equip this whole thing. So but we'll just have to see, and I'm pretty sure you can use it as an inker because the Ignis inkers and I believe the Scare Compassion Healing set inkers can also be equipped together. So this is really nice by the way. Next is the Glacier Leather set. Now this one gives 75 strength, 50 cons, 75 intelligence, as well as 238 critical rate. This is really nice because this is the only set right now that gives 200 critical rate in terms of comparing to a Skias or maybe more important set in the field right now. I'll cover that later on. But this set, when you for them equipped it, a set bonus activated, increased damage deal inside the White Witch Force by 50%. Also decrease duration of White Witch Freeze by half, 50%. Really nice. And whenever this debuff is ended for 3 seconds after, you gain a 5 movement speed extra as well as 50% damage. So that is 30% damage increase in total. Really nice. The next one is Glacier Blaze, 70 cons, 1620 HP, 265 HP recovery, as well as 238 block. When 4 are equipped, the asset bonus is activated. Damage taken is reduced by 10% while inside the Witchfire Forest. The damage taken from Magic Circle decreased by 25%. Now, here's the thing. I'm not sure if this is only applied for the Witchfire Forest. It might be applied for outside as well. But if you consider this, The only class that has a huge area bursting magic circles ability would be considered as Taos. No, excuse me, not Taos. What was that class? One of the wizard class that used the Yin Yaos, and then there's Crusader that has a magic skill with does over 50% a skill factor. It's freaking insane. If you get hit by that, you're dead. But with this and the class mastery, that's like 40% damage reduction. But then again, I don't know whether this magic circle decrease will apply outside, so there's a question mark here. Now it also applies a retaliation buff to all the party members than yourself within the 150 range when you block inside the Witchfire Force, which provide 50% damage deal for 3 seconds. Really nice. For the tanker out there, you might want to consider using this set because it has so much benefit. Next we have the White Witch card with increased con SPR by 1 per star, so I believe this is another green card. It also increased a lot of con SPR, so for those who are using a Skia's card, maybe consider using this card if you're support. If not, I would continue using a Skia card. Next we have, oh yeah, another thing is this is a mutant and cannot be summoned, so this is kind of sucks in my opinion for the summoner class. We don't know whether this card has some really good ability. Maybe this also affect for Skia, and then yeah, definitely affect other legendary bosses as well, but cannot be summoned. Next is Stormman Massacre. It increased 4 strength per star, so that's 40 strength in totals. This might be another amazing DPS card right now in KTEST. When it released, by the way, and like I said, I don't know whether this is a green card or maybe a blue card. We'll just have to see. This is really nice, by the way, in my opinion. Next we have the Wisdom Master card, with also increase 4 status per star, 40 status in totals. So that's like, if you use all 3 cards, you get 120 intelligence, which is really good, by the way. So hold on to your silver, hold on to your money. These are the best card right now if you're looking for DPS, internal physical, and magical. They also might release the SPR version as well, but I'm not entirely sure. We'll just have to see. Alright, so onto the few boss equipment I was talking about. Now Sylvan Aniki also mentioned this about the class stuffs, about the few gear stuffs that Kerberos posted a while ago. So what happened to all these armors that they whether get canceled or not? No, these armors are only exclusive for the few boss and weekly boss. Now these can be obtained on the few bosses against Moriponia and Skia Eclipse. I think this is for Skia Eclipse, right? Yeah, Moriponia and Skia Eclipse. So Skia are getting a few boss version. Keep in mind these 2 bosses have been adjusted to the current level, so they are level 440. They also have an insane amount of critical resistance, by the way, which is over 3000 something. And then for the cloud armor, really good. It has crit resistance, blocks, con SPR, and wherever you cast a hit, it provides sanitizer buff to the target for 5 seconds, reducing the damage taken for the few boss and weekly boss for 5%, by 5% per armor. So that's a 20%. It's just that good. The letter doesn't have critical rate, as I mentioned before. Right now, the new and unique, the White Witch Force, the new and unique armors gives critical rate. This is the only piece, the whole letter set that gives critical rate. So that's really good compared to a few boss. However, these armor, the letter armor, give an attack bonuses against few boss. So 400% attack against boss target. That's like, let's see, around 8% or 5% more damage. It also provides 10% physical damage per armor piece equipped against few or weekly bosses. So if you're looking at huge damage boost, either a letter armor or play armor, because play armor give intelligence, con, SPR, as well as the 477 attack against boss target. It also provides 10% magic damage per piece armor equipped, so that 40% in total. That's really good, by the way, and just want to keep that in mind when in the future, when you want to consider using the few boss gears or using these White Witch Force letter set, which also give critical rate. And if you're lacking critical rates, I would suggest using this piece instead of using the few boss. This will definitely be more expensive compared to the. Well, with that being said, that is all for this video. Thank you very much for watching, everybody, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your days. This is Strategy once again, and I will see you all next time. Later.